The frustration here is a lot of these guys, these terrorists, are known to authorities, but authorities really can't do anything about it because they have laws that are protecting these people. Joining me right now with his thoughts on that and, of course, what we just heard from James Comey, we have former CIA Director James Woolsey. Ambassador Woolsey, welcome back to the show. Good to have you.
Good to be with you.
All right, lots to talk about. Let's start over in the UK. You know, they want to basically make things a lot harder for people to commit acts of terror. Is she going to be able to do this?
If we look on the difference between the American and British constitutions, we can understand this a lot better. The Brits have half a dozen pieces of paper, including the Magna Carta, going back centuries, but they have an unwritten constitution, whereas we have a very written one. And one of the things that she suggested, a longer prison sentence for people convicted of terrorist charges. That's fine. I mean, we could do that. All Congress would have to do would be to pass a law, or maybe state by state. That's not a problem. But when she says they want to restrict terrorists or people from moving around whom they may not have enough evidence on to convict, but they have something, we couldn't do that under our Constitution. You can't just sort of constrain somebody because you have some evidence on him. And I think there are different things that we and the Brits can do, and some things we can do together. Mm-hmm. But our Constitution is pretty clear.
So she may have more in her arsenal, right? She may be able to say, look, if someone is corresponding with a jihadi in Syria and has just gone to Syria, is now back in the UK, we have the means to arrest them?
We might be able to have some kind of surveillance on them, probably with getting a warrant for such a purpose.
Okay.
But we couldn't just do it. And
but I'm saying the
Brits
UK
might be able
could.
to.
Yes, that's what's interesting to me here. If the UK, if the Brits are able to basically you know, use their laws in an accordion way, and given the situation, this heightened threat that they are facing right now, can they start to be more aggressive? I got to turn to this other story with you, Ambassador. It's good to have you here on a day like today. When you were director of the CIA, you, like James Comey at FBI, would be serving at the pleasure of the president. So let me ask you just your initial reaction, and I don't know if you've had a chance to read through all this, but some of the headlines include that, one, the president was not under investigation, and James Comey made that quite clear. But the other big thing that people are latching onto is this question of loyalty, because at a dinner, the president effectively said to him, hey, you know, you like your job? You like working here? And he said, yes, I like this. I want to continue doing this. And the president responded, well, you know, I'm going to need your loyalty. How would you react if the president said that to you? How would you interpret that? And do you see that to be, as some members of the left are suggesting, a smoking gun in any way in terms of obstruction of justice?
I don't think it's a smoking gun. It could have been a josh. I mean, it could have been a, you know, kidding. There are lots of ways that could be taken. I don't think that's a highly damaging or difficult matter.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something. I mean, the one part of this that, and I'm going to share with you what Comey said, is that, you know, it was concerning. He went on to say it was somewhat concerning because of his position at FBI, and they needed to kind of have a church and state aspect to this. But he never actually says in this opening testimony obstruction of justice, and he never, Director Woolsey, went to anyone and complained about obstruction of justice.
Right. We've got to be careful about using the phrase obstruction of justice. The FBI runs two kinds of investigations. They run counterintelligence investigations, in which you often do not talk to the person who is under suspicion. When we caught Aldrich Ames, we never said a word to him before we arrested him, for example, some years ago. You have counterintelligence investigations, and then wholly different, you have essentially criminal investigations. And the criminal investigations, if somebody interferes with one of those, obstruction of justice is a real possibility to be charged with it. It takes an element of corruption. There are various things that make it kind of hard to prove. But obstruction of justice is a legitimate concern in criminal investigations. But in this more general counterintelligence investigation, looking to see where leaks are coming from and so forth, there's not obstruction of justice. You're not pursuing justice. You're just pursuing knowledge about what the enemy may be doing. And people in commenting on these get them tangled up among themselves quite a bit.
Well, you know, I think this will certainly be an interesting testimony for all of us to be watching, and I look forward to hearing your reaction to it this week. Director Woolsey, thank you very much.
Great to be with you.